MyMac Podcast 911. We've got wood.
Hi everyone and welcome to this week's mighty MyMac Podcast. And yes, the Guy has come back from the zombie land, haven't you, Guy? And it's been a really interesting week over here in the UK, and I've not been sleeping. Well, I'm blaming the government, so who wouldn't? Guy, did you have an enjoyable weekend, last weekend, doing dead people? Is that how I should put it? Doing dead people?
Well, doing the Dead People Museum. However,
okay.
We ended up not going to the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia.
Is that the consequences that you were talking about?
Could be. It could very well have been. However, just because we didn't go last week doesn't mean that there's not a trip to the Mutter Museum in the future. But
right.
Before I go into
the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, the apocalypse.
The apocalypse.
Yeah.
That's still on then, is it?
It should be.
Yes, it should be. Yeah.
It should be.
It should be. Good. Well, I'm glad about that. I'm glad you're back. I'm
glad to be back too.
That's good.
But there was lots of drama.
There was lots of drama. You're probably going to tell us about that. Let me jump into what I've been doing this week,
go ahead.
Which has mainly been utilizing, again, ScreenFlow to do a load of introduction or tutorial screencasts and videos for work. And I'm just getting really into it, actually, getting really into using the software. And I think I need to play with it even more to do even more fancy stuff. But yeah, it's good at the moment. It's good. It's working well.
I want to see. And there's one from another company, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. They're kind of like video.
The name's on the tip
editors.
of my tongue. No, the name's on the tip of my tongue.
I know. I think that's the one I use because ScreenFlow I think is from Telework or Yes,
Teleflow.
Telefunken.
Telestream.
Yeah. And it's not cheap. Camtasia. That's the other one.
Camtasia. I knew it was a C.
Yeah. Hey. Careful.
Camtasia. And I think Camtasia works both on Windows and Mac, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, so does ScreenFlow. Yeah.
Does it? Oh, that's great news, because I've got to do a bit of investigation, actually, because once I've completed these, they may want to obviously adjust them or add to them or create more. And if ScreenFlow is available on Windows as well, then I shall
I
be quite
can
pleased.
Almost guarantee that it is, which means, of course, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well,
absolutely.
Well, I'll have to do a bit of investigation anyway.
Yeah.
I shall find that out. And if it can't, I've got to see if there's any way that I can extract any of the files that they can recreate them. But that's for the future for me. Let's listen to the drama-filled Guy weekend that has been last weekend.
Well, it didn't start out. It didn't start out that way. As a matter of fact, on Thursday, just before we left, I found out we weren't going to the Mutter Museum because the people that we were going to meet there had suddenly had other commitments that they had to deal with. So instead of driving 3+ hours to Philadelphia,
wasn't burying somebody, was it?
No, taking a body to the museum. Here you go. Fresh
that's
one.
Good.
It's a fresh one.
Shouldn't joke about.
No, it's not that funny. It is funny. Not that funny.
Okay, so they had other commitments.
So we drove 3.5 to 4 hours to get to the New York barrier or the New York border, right there by the city. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, we are making such great time. We're going to get there early and be able to relax. And then we hit New York traffic, and it took us another 3 hours to get out to where the hotel was in, I want to say Ocean Bay, or it's Ocean something where this place was. No, it was the Ocean Bay Hotel, which was real nice. But it took another 3.5 hours to do that last, what normally would have been 45 minutes at most, you know, and it's like, where are all you people going?
It's
I have
depressing,
places to
isn't
go.
it? I always find it depressing sitting in traffic, if I'm totally honest.
I hate sitting in traffic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it gets worse as you get older, if I'm honest.
It probably does. It probably does.
because you realize your life is so much shorter.
Yeah. It's like I could be doing so many other things that I enjoy. But no,
when you're young, you just don't notice it, do you?
Yeah, it's like, who cares? I've got my whole life in front of me. But then you hit like your mid 50s, early 60s, and you're like, damn, I'm gonna die soon.
I wish this traffic.
And then I'm gonna end up at the Motor Museum.
Yes, absolutely.
Damn it!
That's something you can look forward to.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in my will. I want my body donated to the Motor Museum because that's where I want to spend my afterlife. So anyway, so we get there and we have a great meal, and big surprise, there's lots of great Italian restaurants in the New York area. I know that will come as a shock to so many people. Who would have known? And we get up the next day and I get an email from StubHub, which is the company that we got the tickets for the Jim Gaffigan concert, saying, oh, your tickets are here. And it was like, oh, thank God, because that was like the last bit that we had to deal with for this trip that we wasn't going to be dealt with before we left. So I download the tickets through this link that goes to Ticketmaster, and this will come in later. And it says it's for the 9:30 show.
Can I just say Ticketmaster, everybody's favorite ticketing website. Yeah.
Who doesn't love Ticketmaster? So it's for the 9:30 show, not the 7:00 show, which is what I had wanted. Okay. So I try to call Ticketmaster.
Yeah, I think the same. You get the same response from anybody over here wanting to do that.
Yeah, there is not a number that I know of, and I Googled the hell out of it, that you can call to talk to a real live person. Everything is done through like these automated bots that are just so stupid and will not get you where it is you need to go with the problem that you have. So it's like, okay.
Well, you know why that is, Guy, don't you?
Because they don't want to.
Yes, they in the hope that you'll give up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I did. And I went to StubHub where I actually talked to a real person. Okay. And the thing was, because this was a resold ticket, because Ticketmaster actually has, like in so many other ways, the concession for this venue, the Paramount Theater in Huntington, New York, and so many other places around, I guess, the entire world, that if you get tickets from someone else, they're resold from somebody that got them from Ticketmaster. So this person, Veronica, I think her name was, and that was all that we got. We didn't get last names. We didn't get contact information.
Hi, Veronica.
Which makes sense. And so I get a hold of StubHub, and they're like, well, this is going to probably take about 24 hours to work out, because they had to contact Veronica, and the show is the next night. This is Friday.
I thought it was
show
that same night. Oh, I thought it was the same night.
No, thank God.
Yeah, that's kind of pushing it
wasn't.
fine. That's
very, very
fine,
much so.
Yeah.
So their StubHub, after talking to a real person, unless that was if it wasn't a real person, it was the best AI I have ever spoken with.
Excellent.
We go off on our merry way and we do some stuff. We go over to Fire Island, which you can't drive too far on before you hit a brick wall. And we go to the Fire Island Lighthouse and blah, 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 do some stuff around Long Island. And we get up the next day. This is now the day of the show. We get up the next day and we're on our way to the northern part of Long Island, because that was where the Paramount Theater was as compared to where we were staying. And we were going to go to, and we did, the Teddy Roosevelt House, former president of the United States, one of the Vanderbilt houses, and whatever else that we could fit in before we had to start, doing something about the show that night. Yeah. And while I'm driving, I get a call from StubHub, and thank God I had reception where I was. And they're like, well, we've got Veronica on the phone. And of course I can't talk to Veronica. And she's saying that she made a mistake, that those tickets were for the 9:30 show. And I'm like, damn it. And they were like, well, we can cancel them and try to, it's like, no. We drove 6 freaking hours to get up here. And by God, we're going to see Jim Gaffigan tonight, even if it's at 4:00 in the goddamn morning. Okay. So we didn't cancel the ticket. I'm sorry about the curse word, by the way, but I was pretty riled up. So the ticket thing is straightened out, and that was the last bit of drama. And we had a wonderful time in Long Island looking at these houses and stuff. And the show was great, though. You've been to a comedy show?
Yes.
It's not like, for people who haven't and have only been to like rock shows and country western shows, or, whatever kind of music that you prefer shows, the way those usually work is, they're out, they're performing, they say good night, and then they leave the stage, and then everybody claps, and they come back on, and they do it on. It's like, don't do that. Okay. Yeah. I know it's the game. It's the game. It's like, well, you guys have been such a great audience. We're going to play these songs that we were going to play for you anyway.
Because you've been waiting all night for them.
Yeah. The only performance I can think of lately that didn't do that was Ringo Starr. They played their entire set list, said thank you, good night, and all the old guys that were up there on stage basically said, I need a nap, and left the stage.
Yes, precisely. They need to get off so they can have a nap. And actually, it's a long way on your Zimmer frame from the end of the stage.
Well, they did like a 2.5 hour show without a break.
There you go. They were probably going off their,
Though Ringo has COVID. I don't know if you heard about this. So he's unfortunately had to cancel the rest of the show. So Ringo, I know you listen to the podcast.
He does. Yeah. No, he does. He rang
all the former Beatles.
He rang me the other week saying it was a good show. He was looking forward to my solo show as well.
I'm sure he was. And so, we wish Ringo Starr Godspeed and, get better soon. But I mean, that was basically the last bit of drama. But it was weird with a comedy show. When they get done, they're like, okay, thanks. You guys have been great. They put the mic down and they walk off the stage.
Absolutely.
Which is what
and then everybody else can leave.
They get up and they leave. And it was just kind of like, wait a second. Where's the after jokes? Okay. Where's the encore jokes? But no, it doesn't work that way. But we had a wonderful time.
Good.
And we drove home. Now.
Excellent. There's something else.
Next weekend.
Oh dear.
We're supposed to drive 3+ hours from here, from where I live, to Philadelphia.
Yes.
To meet those same people. Friends, and they're my friends too. They're actually, I'm almost making this sound like they're monsters for making me do this. No, they're really nice people. I've known them for as long as I've known my wife.
Yeah, stop backtracking.
Yeah, well, I'm trying so hard. And so we're going to meet with them in Philadelphia, go to the Dracula thing at the Mutter Museum, and then drive home. And it's like 3 hours each way. It's like, and when my wife broached this with me, I love my wife, which is the only reason why I'm driving 6 to 7 hours in a single day to go to lunch and a museum filled with dead people. I love my wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, who are you trying to persuade there?
Myself, actually, then. It's like, yeah, I really love her.
Well, before you dig a hole any deeper, I'm not going to ask you what mic you're using at the moment, because I've got a feeling we might be coming on to a little bit more of that sort of information in a little while. So maybe. I'm going to jump straight into Gaz's snippets. Okay, so the Euchre, I can't.
That country that you live in.
Well, yeah, country.
Shh, careful.
Yeah,
careful.
Yeah, you have to be very careful at the moment. Good grief, I'll tell you what. The one good thing is we have the situation.
Are you missing Johnson yet?
Yeah, a lot of people are actually. A lot of people are missing Johnson. The thing is, we all came together as a country when, the Queen passed away and for a funeral,
Yes.
and it was kind of as one. Actually, Liz Truss is doing the same thing. She's bringing us all together to hate her, basically. She's doing a great job of it, I gotta say. Anyway, I'll best move on because we don't.
Well, the thing is, it's like this dichotomy of emotion that's going through the country right now.
Love,
hate.
I do dad jokes at the end of this podcast often.
Yes.
Yes.
All the time.
Well, actually, that's what we are at the moment. We're just one big joke. So anyway, I'll move on. I'm going to get some hate now. The UK Apple Store has already anticipated iPhone 15 launch for 2023. At least one Apple Store in the UK is anticipating an unusually high volume of footfall in the fall holiday period of next year. That's autumn to everybody outside of the States. A time frame that is expected to include the launch of the iPhone 15 lineup. Employees at Apple Milton Keynes, it's just flipped to another one, Apple Milton Keynes, which is not my closest store. It used to be my closest store, but now it's my second closest store, has been told that they may not take any leave between September 15th, 2023 and October 7th, 2023. There you go. So that's when we're going to have the release of the iPhone next year.
Yeah, who could have anticipated that?
Nobody, including Apple.
Ever.
Mac growth, the only highlight in a declining PC market, shows IDC report. Who'd have thunk it, eh? Who'd have thunk it?
40%.
Yeah, it's doing quite well. Well done. You didn't pick that number out of the air either, did you?
I did not. I saw that story.
Very good. Apple has released iOS 16.0.3 with notification fixes, improved camera speed on iPhone 14 Pro. So that's good. Much more, of course, much more. iOS 19.0.2 for Apple Watch fixes microphone bugs, Spotify.
Little tiny bugs about this big. It's bugs. Just a small watch. It has to be little bugs.
Micro bugs and Spotify interruptions. Actually, I think, did I say it last week? The call from Marcus, was it Marcus? Actually, the sound quality from his Ultra, is it to Marcus that's getting the Ultra?
Yes.
Anyway,
it sounded good.
It sounded really good, really good. I think I did mention it last week. Apparently, Guy, Apple is well past its 2-year goal to transit from Intel to Apple Silicon on its Macs. How's that going? How's that going?
Going really well, actually.
Going really well.
Yeah.
There's
only one machine left.
Well, yes, but they're past the deadline, Guy. That's the point.
Oh.
You don't listen to a word I say, really, do you?
To
you
what?
Just, precisely. What? Did you hear the Steve Jobs AI interview with Joe Rogan?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And the combination of like AI generated speech and the obvious snippets that the AI had gathered in and was using was really amazing. You could
when you say
tell
amazing,
at certain points. You could tell at certain points.
You could.
But and of course Joe Rogan, because of he obviously was reading from a script, because it sounded like he was reading from a script so that the AI would have, the right responses. Which honestly, that took more away from it.
Yes.
Than the somewhat weirdness of the AI speech of Steve Jobs.
It did sound quite good.
Yeah,
anyway,
it did. It was impressive.
I'm glad you heard it. Apple has introduced Ask Apple for developers, a new series of interactive Q&A and one-to-ones provide developers with direct access to Apple experts, not just during WWDC, but pretty much all year round.
Good.
I'll tell you something at the end of this as well, because I forgot to mention it last week. I forgot. Right. I couldn't mention it because I'd half done the show before I'd done what I'm going to tell you about. But I move away. I digress. Let me get back. I'm interrupting myself. Will you let me finish?
Guess? Will you let yourself finish?
Yes, absolutely. iPhone's calling 911 from owners' pockets on roller coasters. Now, I'm sure you heard about this. Now,
yes.
Now, I I heard lots of people talking about it and saying, oh, well, I'm sure that they could geolocate it, so that they don't actually do it. And then I heard a couple of shows say, oh, yeah, but what happens if they fall out of the roller coaster and it doesn't indicate? I'm thinking, you know what? You get somebody fall out of a roller coaster at a theme park. I think that's probably going to be a major issue. You don't have to worry about your phone calling. I think there's a few other people around that might just call the rescue services for you.
Okay. This is what's going to happen, Gaz. Okay. My scenario, you fall out of a roller coaster, hit the ground. Nobody does anything around you because they don't think they have to, because they see your hand raise up with the phone trying to find a satellite that you could call emergency services. No, he's got it covered. We don't have to do anything.
He's got it covered.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, so that's both for the phone and the watch. But come on, folks. Come on. Get a grip. You can geolocate it and sort it out. They don't have to worry about falling out and
nobody responding.
He's incredible.
Somebody at the park is like, can we just move that guy? He's kind of off-putting the other guests.
People are having to step over him now to get into the roller coaster.
It's not right. It's just not right.
Anyway, we'll move on. 87% of American teens own an iPhone. Now, can I just say, 87% of the people they surveyed, although it was a survey of 14,500 American teens.
Okay.
So it's quite a big survey, but even so, it can be sometimes self-selecting, these surveys.
You could do almost any survey of teenagers and find that 87% of them have done something or are in some way.
Well, they're probably going to agree a lot anyway. Can I move on? Will you let me finish? This is important now. Yes. Just shut up, because of that bit I was querying, right? They go on to say, we are friends, folks, really.
We are.
88%, 88% expect an iPhone to be their next phone. Now, I'm a bit confused by this. Was that a different group of people that they surveyed, and then 88%, or was this 88% of the 87%? Anyway, I'm going to move on.
Well, you know what the retention rate is for people that buy iPhones?
What, about 90% of that, right?
It's about 85, 90%. So it's like, wow, another analyst just jumping off the ledge.
Yes,
going, okay.
Yeah, we had analysts over here in the marketplace. I won't go back to that. This story will come back again. Lufthansa says passengers can't use their Apple AirTags to track check bags. I'm going to come back to that story in a little while, although I'm going to come back to it very quickly, actually, but I'm then going to come back to it again later. Australian Airlines to continue to allow luggage trackers after Lufthansa bans devices. More later. iOS 16 breaks AirPlay support for most content on older Apple TV models. Oh dear, that's not so good. Apple Music is now available on Xbox, Guy. Aren't you pleased?
That was keeping me up at night, Gaz. It really was.
Well, you can see that I've not had a lot of sleep recently.
Thank God that's resolved.
I think that was actually in the back of my mind as well. Apple Card cannot be used. There's been an error forcing users to remove and re-add cards. So if you get an error saying you can't use a card, you've got to take it out and put it back in. I've got a feeling I had this a few weeks ago, actually. So I'm surprised it's taken this long to come up.
So which era? Was it the 70s, the 80s?
It was the 60s.
I'm such an ass. I admit it. Go ahead.
Apple has upped. You don't normally. Apple has upped the education and healthcare benefits. Wait for it, but not for unionized employees. Australian workers are set to strike. That's not a surprise. I think, Apple, you might need to just do a little bit more if your ethics need to be at the rate that you want them to be. You keep telling us that you're a really great company and they're a really great company to work for, but you're getting a little bit of bad press at the moment, got to say. Apparently, Apple Card is to offer savings account for daily cash. Apple has announced that Apple Card users will be able to open a new in air quotes, high yield, again in air quotes, saving account from Goldman Sachs and have their daily cash automatically deposited into it with no fees, no minimum deposits, and no minimum balance requirements.
Well, but I can use that with any bank I want, right?
Well, I don't know. I would have hoped so. But maybe not as high yield as you're expecting. Mark Zuckerberg has taken a thinly veiled shot at Apple, implying that Apple's AR / yes, very good. See, it's very good, isn't it?
Because he's not transparent as hell.
Very good. Implying, he's translucently. Oh no, I'd better not go there.
No, that's a good word. Let me write that one down. Translucently
implies Apple's AR VR headset will be very expensive. Oh no, no. I mean, come on, Sherlock.
In a former life, Mark Zuckerberg was a tech analyst.
He certainly isn't at the moment. Apple hit with another fine in Brazil over selling iPhone with a charger. Now, I mentioned this last week, but I'm not sure whether this is another one. So I'm not quite sure whether I had to put it in again or whether this is a repeat of last week's, which it may well be, but I've said it again now anyway. Apple TV Plus gets closer to Hulu in the US, while Amazon Prime Video lost subscribers. So this doesn't mean that Apple's cuddling up to Hulu. What it means is they're getting more subscribers to be closer to the sorts of numbers that Hulu have got. Okay. Lufthansa, right, then agreed, and Apple also put a piece of information out saying, yes, you can use AirTags to track luggage. The point is here, because you go backwards and forwards, can you, can't you, can you, can't. How much advertising has Apple had over AirTags? I mean, basically, this has been Lufthansa completely and utterly promoting the AirTags. Brilliant.
And giving themselves horrible, horrible press.
Well,
good job.
Good job, Lufthansa. I think the only person that's done any worse by some mile is our Prime Minister. No, our Prime Minister.
That's kind of a hopeless case, I think.
It's a hopeless case, yeah. There's no coming back from that one. No. Apple supplier TSMC shares leap after profit beats estimates. So TSMC are doing well, which means they're doing lots of chips for probably, namely, a fruit company. Apple apparently, Guy, wants flexibility over the NFL Sunday ticket streaming rights. Apparently, they are rumored to be a front runner for streaming rights for the NFL Sunday ticket package, but it's been reported that existing restrictions around Sunday tickets have slowed negotiations between Apple and the NFL in recent months.
Well, just like with Amazon's Thursday night games, if you can only watch those games if you subscribe to Amazon or to Apple TV, I think it's a terrible idea.
Apple store in Oklahoma City becomes the second in the US to unionize. I'm moving on very quickly. And I think, did I mention 16.0.2 earlier? No, 16.0.3.
No, you were talking about 03.
03, and I've got a duplication here, so I won't repeat it. And that, Guy, is the end of Gaz's snippets. However,
yes,
what I wasn't able to mention last week was the fact that I was on with Bart Buchotz on the Let's Talk Apple.
God, it has been
number 100.
I cannot remember the last time I was on that show.
I know, but anyway, I was on with him, and it was at Let's Talk Apple number 109, and we went through and had a jolly old time. It was just myself and him, so there was quite a lot of back and forth between us, and it was very good.
And for people who haven't listened to the Let's Talk Apple show. It's a great show. He manages to summarize. I'm not meaning to turn this into a commercial, but I guess it kind of is. He manages to summarize the month's events for Apple and some other tech in general in a great way. And the people that he has on, myself excluded, usually have really, really good insight into those particular stories, and you'll get a lot out of it if you listen to the Let's Talk Apple podcast, which you can find
except the last 109 when I was on.
Yeah, if you see that it has either Guy or Gaz, you might want to go, should I
no, still listen to it, just skip forward in our bits.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Guy's about to talk.
Yeah, skip forward about 3 minutes.
Yeah, because I never know when to shut up.
Now, talking about never knowing when to shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
The show title was We Got Wood. Now, I didn't think that you actually owned a wooden microphone, but that's kind of what I've got from the fact that you said we got wood, and you didn't want me to mention the fact that, which microphone you were using this week. So have you gone out and bought a new microphone, which is wooden?
I actually have. It's not made of wood. So do I have one that has wood? No, I don't even have one. I sort of do, but I'm not going to go into that right now. That's a whole nother disaster. The wood in question is Bob Wood.
This is Wob Wood. Messages. We don't need no stinking messages.
Well, you say that, Bob, but you sent me a message through email. Bob Wood
I'd forgotten about that snippet, I'd forgotten about that.
That's like a whole nother rat hole that we could go down.
Oh dear.
But let's not go there. Bob Wood is a member and high muck in the Tucson Mac users group, and everything that we're about to talk about, there will be links because I have them in the show notes, so it makes it much easier to put them in. There will be links in the show notes for this particular episode, so go to mymac.com and you'll find all those links there. He sent me an email asking or saying that he is putting together a geek gift guide presentation for the local Tucson Macintosh users group. And he was wondering if I had a recommendation for a budget-priced USB microphone suitable for our Zoom meetings.
Bob, why did you do that? I mean, come on. I hear about these mics week in, week out. Can I go to sleep for a few minutes while you go through this?
What? I have no idea what you mean, Gaz. But he did go to the right person to ask this question. Now,
well, you say that.
Yeah. Well, because I love this crap. For like Zoom and Skype and other VoIP services, quite frankly, you can use the one that's built into your Mac, and it's usually okay. But that's not really what he was asking me. So if you want to step it up a little bit without going broke, the one that I'm going to recommend here is the Fifine K683A. It's a very good choice. Now, does the Fifine K683A rival a Heil PR40 like this one right here? No. Does it rival a Shure SM7B? No. Does it rival my wonderful Lewitt 440 Pure? No. But, or hell no, actually. But it does swing out of its price point.
I don't know if anybody spotted that. I got that. I get jokes.
Heil no. But it does swing out of its price point with good sound, a pop filter, and a cable that will work with either USB-A or USB-C. And it's kind of weird. If you go and hit the links that will be included, you'll see that the USB cable that attaches to this microphone, and I'm going to show it to you in just a second. One end is the USB-B connector, which is what we use to put into printers and things like that. The other end has kind of a U shape to it as far as the cable goes. One end is USB-A, the other end is USB-C, and you can use either one. So if you're going to a computer that only has USB-A, you're covered. If you're going to a computer like a MacBook Pro that only has USB-C, you don't have to use a hub. This will just work. This will just work right with it. Now, the mic itself, I'm going to actually, let me just pull it up here and I'll show it to you. The mic,
for those watching the video.
yes, to make sure I forgot to say that. This is what the mic looks like. It comes with this crappy stand, which I have my own extender here that I have on it, because the crappy stand is relatively useless. I call it a crappy stand because it's a crappy stand. But you can see here's the pop filter that it comes with, and the microphone itself has very little in the way of.
So can I just describe for those listening? It's like a U-shaped pop filter. It's like a hard case one. It's not like the soft foam. I from what I'm seeing on the video, and it kind of goes round. So obviously you'd want to speak into that section at that angle of the mic, so that you don't.
Yeah, and you can tell which side is the active side because it says
you don't. And I'm going. So you don't, and I'm going to do it here. Pop.
So. Also on the front, you can see the little red LED light.
Yep.
It's very blinky. And when it's red, it's in mute. When it's green, it's active. And this is the mic gain right here. There's no headphone volume, but this is the mic gain for it right there.
Okay. So there's a little dial on the front, on the front of the mic there. Yeah.
And I don't know if I can get this to come in focus, but there's very little. You can see right now that there's very little in the way. It's not like cranked all the way up. It's actually set very, very low. It's a very sensitive mic. Now it is a condenser mic, but it doesn't have a big condenser element in it. It's got what's called an electet. I think that's how it's pronounced, element in it to pick up your voice, which is a less sensitive, less good, for lack of a better term, little element for it to pick up your voice. It does require phantom power, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
What else how much is that here? Roughly? Did you say a price for that? About $50?
It's about $50 for the microphone. Okay. It comes with the pop filter. It comes with the stand. It comes with the cable, and it comes with the little desktop thing that you need to attach it to either a stand or like a boom arm or something like that. Now, when I was talking to Bob about this, it was like, it's not just the microphone that you need for something like this. If you're using it for Skype or Zoom or something along those lines, you also need to make sure that what you're hearing from the other person in the VoIP service isn't being heard by the microphone that you're using, or you're going to get feedback, which is not fun or good for anybody.
Yeah, but we like feedback.
Well, we do, but not that kind of feedback.
Oh, I see. You're talking about something completely different.
Something completely different. So if you have, and because on the back of this microphone, there's a 1/8 inch, what is that, 6.3 millimeter connector, so that you can take, like, if all you have is like earbuds from older iPhones, you can use those. That's not a big deal. If you have headphones, you can use those, and you just basically set in your preferences for the VoIP service, the microphone that you're using, and where you want to hear it. But if you don't have any of those and you're looking for something that's going to sound a little bit different, you can go with, here they are. Here they are right here. And these are not expensive either. These are the One Audio headphones. They're about $50. They have a 50 gram rare earth element in them. And they as good as like $100 Sony headphones or Sennheiser headphones? Again, no. But for $30, they sound really, really good. And again, there will be links to the microphone to the headphones that I've talked about so far in the show notes. Now, after I sent him all of this information, I also said, well, you can use either the crappy stand that the microphone comes with, or you can get a relatively inexpensive boom arm from like Newer, which is like what this is right here. That's what you can't see it that well, but it's what that microphone right there is attached to. And they're like $15-20 for one of these boom arms. Not that expensive. But after all of that, what I found as I was kind of perusing on Amazon is that Fifine also sells all of this in a kit, not the headphones, but the microphone, a boom arm, the pop filter, and a shock mount, which I do not have for this microphone, for about $15 more. So for about $65, you get minus headphones, the entire kit. And show notes will be in the show notes will be in the link. Link will be in the show notes, and you can see all of that there. Now, if you want to step up a little higher, actually, before we do that, so that you can hear what this thing sounds like. And I'm going to apologize. There's probably going to be some background noise associated with this, just because of I don't have a shock mount on this thing, so there's going to be some handling noises. So I'm going to go ahead and switch.
Okay, so what we're doing now is Guy is switching over. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't want to touch the mic and I don't want to touch the desk, because since I don't have a shock mount, anything I do is going to be transmitted right into it because there's no shock mount. But how does this sound?
I think it sounds pretty good, actually.
Now the microphone
there's not as much bass on it as the other one, but it's right. Pretty acceptable.
The microphone I was using, which is the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure, has a large capsule. It's a large capsule condenser microphone, whereas this microphone is a small capsule condenser microphone, and you can hear the difference. However, if I get a little bit closer, it's probably going to sound a little bit better, a little more bassy.
A little bit better, yeah.
So I'm roughly about 6 to 8 inches away from the microphone as I'm talking right now. The gain is set on the microphone at about 25%, and it sounds for $50. This sounds pretty good. And if you go ahead and spend $15 more, you'll get the boom arm, you'll get the shock mount, you'll still get the pop filter and everything else that's included in that kit. So I'm going to switch back to the other microphone now. So stand by.
It's all right. We can edit this bit out in post because Guy's really good at doing that. He enjoys editing the show every week. I'm getting frowned at now, folks. Anyway, I'm waiting for him to press all of these right buttons. Here we go. He's back.
So all of the buttons have been pressed. Thank you, Rogue Amoeba, and the amazing, wonderful Audio Hijack, which makes doing something like that so very, very easy. Now, that's not your only choice. And I don't have what I'm about to tell you about. I don't have any of that hooked up because I don't have all of these pieces that I'm about to tell you about. The problem with condenser microphones is that they pick up a lot of background noise. They'll pick up more background noise than a dynamic microphone. So if you want to limit that, go to a dynamic microphone. And for $65 plus $30 for the headphones, that's under $100. That's choice one. Choice two, a little bit more expensive, but it also gives you some flexibility for the future. So you can go to a dynamic microphone, which is going to require, of course, a USB audio interface. The audio interface I would recommend is Behringer's. This is going to be almost all Behringer stuff. The UMC 22 interface. It has the industry known, Midas preamps, and it's currently on sale for about $50. It normally sells for about $70. But even at $70, it's one of the least expensive single XLR USB interfaces that you'll find on the market that is worth its salt. They're actually very, very good. I used Behringer audio interfaces for a very, very long time. Now, staying in the Behringer camp, one of the most recommended inexpensive dynamic microphones that you'll find in the market is the Behringer XM8500. Is that the one that I sent you, Gaz? Or was it a different one?
That's what I was just looking for. Actually, that's why I disappeared off screen, because I was just trying to go
see
down.
If you can find it, because I think I sent you the UMC 202 or 204, which is slightly different, but it's all the same basic components for the audio interface.
Yeah, I can't. I'm going to have to get a load of stuff out.
That's all right.
I'm going to be making lots of noise, so I won't do that.
Okay, that's fine. But the XM8500 looks suspiciously, Gaz, a lot like Shure's SM58, which is like a industry standard as far as microphones go. But that microphone is $100, whereas the XM8500 from Behringer is about $20. So you decide. But
yeah,
it is a very, very good microphone. And you would also have to get the boom arm or desktop stand that I have that'll be in the show notes. And you're likely still under $100. And if you wanted to get a slightly better microphone than the XM, boy, my throat's getting all froggy, than the XM8500, there's Behringer's BA85A for about $20 more. And that is also a very, very good microphone. So all of this stuff will be in the show notes, Gaz. And what did you think? Was that actually, Bob, I hope that answers your question, and that you are able to use this information at your user group. But Gaz looks like he's nodding his head.
I am.
He is.
Hit it. Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Dance.
Yeah, I had to wait. I had to look at the audience last week, because I did the podcast last week in front of a live audience. I had to wait for somebody at the back of the auditorium to be nodding their head. It was quite a large auditorium. There was about 50,000 people in there watching.
Sure, I would have gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wembley.
Nobody paid to go in. Anyway, do you ever get deep into a menu, then a sub-menu on your iOS device, and you want to go back without repeatedly hitting the back button, Guy? Well, press and hold the back button, and you'll see a list of previous menus. I think some people call it a stack menu list. And from here, you can go back to the first page or select any of the pages which appear.
Nice.
But hang on a minute. I've got another iOS tip.
Okay.
According to the orientation of your device, this is a cracker. When you hit your volume buttons on your device, you see the volume come up on your screen. Very often, if you've got it, landscape mode, not landscape, or portrait mode, you can see the volume come up on the left-hand side. Well, if you press with your finger onto that volume, you can adjust it manually and very finely rather than it clipping up and down when you're hitting your side buttons. So when you see it come on, so you press your volume and it goes up or down. If you press you put your finger on the volume, the white bit, which is you can see on the left-hand side, you can then move it up and down. In fact, I'm going to see if you can see this on the camera. Now, you'll have to tell me if it's in focus.
It's blurry.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, you can do it manually. So that's really cracking, because sometimes you just want a bit of a fine adjustment. And here's another tip. 3 tips. Can you believe it? 3 tips is another one. And it's similar to the previous one, where you can grab the scroll bar, certainly in your Safari on your iOS device, and again, scroll manually using the scroll bar. It does move the screen faster and further up and down rather than just flicking the page, when you're scrolling up and down. If you can see the scroll bar, put your finger on it and grab it, then drag it up and down. Makes things a lot easier. And I see you're nodding your head.
I am.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
Okay.
I did kind of miss those last week. I've got to say.
I thought I had those in our common folder.
You might have done. I didn't use them, so I was kind of trying to get a show out. So
no, I understand.
Slap my
so,
wrist.
real fast. Don't forget the timeout.com list of helpful Ukrainian donation sites that you can donate directly to the Ukrainian Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders, two fine organizations that are doing very good work over there in the Ukraine as they struggle through a pretty dark time in their history. Now, we probably have some feedback, but I have not looked, so I can't tell you about it.
Well, it'll be a surprise next week if we get
it. Will be. It's like, what? Feedback? And that's how I'll look.
Yeah.
That'll be like in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weirdo.
If you do, yeah, very much so. If you do give us feedback, remember, if it's your first time, tell us it's your first time, because
I like people telling me it's their first time.
Chances are it'll be the last time. You will receive something wonderful, which is called a Woo T. And that's big W, big O, big T, little I, little E. That spells Woody. And what it is a no. You have to give us feedback, and then you'll get one, and then you'll know.
Absolutely.
Like all of the other fine people whose lives have been changed irrevocably, that word, by receiving a Woo T. And if you would like to help contribute to a show that the hosts just continuously mess up commonly spoken words, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/MacParrot. You can go to coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a pal at paypal.me. Thank God I've got this pop filter on, because it would be just going boo, 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 boo. PayPal, there we go. Lost my whole train of thought. PayPal.me/MacParrot. Now, guess, if people wanted to get a hold of, not me, but you, 3D Effect, how would they do so?
It's so easy. Send an email to Gaz, G-A-Z, at mymac.com, or on the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, G-A-Z, M-A-Z. You can also contact both Guy and myself on the Twitter sphere by going to twitter.com/Guy and Gaz, G-U-Y-A-N-D G-A-Z. Wait for it. Z.
Cars.
You can also send feedback into FWDBACK at mymac.com. Guy.
Guy, you're Guy. It's you. I love you.
My guy?
So, Guy.
Just who is this guy?
I don't know who this guy is.
Any guy.
Ooh.
Well.
His name was Guy.
Guy? You remember Guy? Guy's the one.
He's the guy.
No foolin'.
No, thank you.
If and for any new, if we do happen to have any new listeners and you're wondering why Guy has reacted to that, here is the full piece.
His name was Guy. No foolin'.
This has never happened before, folks. This has never ever happened.
It has happened before, but a long time ago, and it was at my end where that was happening.
Yes. So that may happen again now, because they're going to ring again. Let me just, oh my word, this is all going horribly wrong.
It's going so wrong.
It's going so wrong. I'm going to pull. That's it. Right. For anybody, I've got a phone in here. It's like the bat phone, to be honest with you, folks. And when it rings, I really need to answer it. Well, it never rings, so I never have to answer it until it rings halfway through a podcast. So I'm now holding up for the video. I've pulled out the terminal for the phone because I can't have that ringing again. Anyway, I've got no idea what. Anyway, any new listeners, that's the whole piece. And what Guy with his OCD can't stand is when I go,
Guy.
When I play that and then don't play the
no foolin'.
He just can't stand it. So
it does. Don't know why it bothers me so much.
If you want to send, some information to help Guy, you can
An email from Guy.
get an email back from Guy by sending it to who, Guy?
Open the email client of your particular choice, and you would send that to Guy, Gui, at mymac.com or podcast at vertshark.com. Vertshark.com is the website that hasn't been updated in about a month and a half because I'm trying to fix something, but eventually it'll be there. And you can see all of the odds and all of the vids over there at vertshark.com eventually. You can reach me on the Twitters. I am vertshark or MacParrot over there on the Twitters. There we go. That's out of order, but that's okay. That's fine. I'm
still wondering about the phone. I've got to now work out if I have to call it back to get the number to find out who rang me so I can ring them back. It's just a nightmare.
You're so flustered.
I am.
We
it's
also
it's
have
the bat phone. That's why it's the bat phone. Or the gas phone.
Yes, Commissioner. So we also have a bat phone number, Gaz, and that number we do through Skype is 1 or +1 703 436 9501. That number again is 703 436 9501. Or if for some reason a 1 or a +1 is just too freaking hard for you, really? Is it? Is it that hard? But if it is, you can go right to the Skype application and just dial 703 436 9501. And now we are so close to the end, and Gaz is relieved because he has to find out who the hell was just trying to call him. So I would like to say to all of you. I
suppose actually it would have been funnier if I'd answered it, wouldn't it, really? I should have answered
yeah, just like, yeah, I'm on a podcast right now. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's an international podcast. We have tens of listeners. Yeah.
Tens. Yeah. They're busting the door down to get to us. So we would like to say to those tens of listeners, thank you. Thank you so very, very much for downloading and freaking listening. Listen to, I have the limiter on, so it's not going to hopefully be too loud. The MyMac.com
all our
podcast.
Secrets out, don't you? You let all the secrets
I know. Well,
out.
I do so many things in the background that people just don't understand how hard I work to make this show sound the way it does, except when it doesn't sound well, and then it's someone else's fault.
Moving on.
Gaz, I think that this week that we were good enough. And I think that this week, we were smart enough. And that, doggone it, Wilf, woof, 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 where's Wilf, woof, woof, people like us.
Why do bees have sticky hair?
Sorry, you're going from dogs to bees, and I'm just, my mind just doesn't go that way. Tell me, Gaz, why do bees? What was that again? One more time.
Sticky. Why do bees have sticky hair?
Why do bees have sticky hair, Gaz?
Because they use a honeycomb.
Oh, God.
And
it's so bad.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.